The next game again is one of my own that I played not that long ago at the Polgar Chess Center in New York in a quick game.
White starts with d4. Black responds with d5. Knight to f3. Knight to f6.
So far we are both developing the normal healthy way.
c4. And black captures the pawn by playing d takes c4.
This is the so-called Queen's Gambit accepted that I personally used to play a lot as black myself.
e3.
This is one of the ways to attempt to win the pawn back quickly. Of course, not the only one. Queen a4 is a possible way to get the pawn back right away. Also, knight c3 is a possible way to give up on that pawn for a while and just try to get ahead in the center and gain initiative and stay behind the pawn for a while. But in this case, I preferred trying to get the pawn back.
c5.
That's a standard move, although usually it's first played e6 and then c5. Now the question comes, why not to just protect the pawn? In that case, white wins the pawn back very quickly by playing a4. Black cannot protect the pawn with a6 because of the pin on the a file. And after c6, white can play pawn takes, and b3. The idea is that if the pawn captures, the bishop captures with a check, and after bishop blocks, the queen takes and gets the pawn back. And white is a little bit better developed and has a small advantage in this position. And if in this position after b3 black is still stubbornly trying to protect the pawn, after pawn takes, white can either give a check and then take the pawn, or even take the pawn first, bishop takes, and then win the bishop back with queen to a4 check. So in this position my opponent played c5.
Bishop takes c4.
I got my pawn back.
And now he plays bishop to g4.
Again, it's the same mistake we've seen several times already on this tape, that the bishop develops to g4 prematurely can cause serious trouble. In this case, it's even more severe than in some of the other cases we saw. Black should continue developing the king side. And now, a typical combination. Try to figure out what's the correct move here for white.
Bishop takes f7 check.
This is a typical combination that wins a pawn.
King takes f7. Knight to e5 check.
And now comes a fork with knight to e5.
King to g8.
Now my opponent made probably an even worse move. It was maybe better to go to e8.
Knight takes g4.
Now white won a pawn, and here my opponent made a suicidal move. Could have delayed the game by, let's say, playing g6 or so, but the game ended very quickly.
Knight takes g4.
That's a serious blunder that ends the game right away.
Queen b3 check.
And black gets checkmated after blocking the check 1 or 2 times. What we saw in this game was that we saw already in several of the other games. The black bishop came out from c8 to g4, and that was the cause of the trouble. In general, I advise try to develop the king side first, rather than the queen side. In only very rare cases, you can delay that and reverse that order.